What if the Cleveland Browns are once again repeating the same mistake that has haunted this franchise for decades? What if the quarterback who could finally change everything is standing on the sidelines, wearing a headset instead of a helmet, waiting for a chance that might never come? That's the heartbreaking reality surrounding rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders, a young man with star potential, a famous last name, and the skills to transform the future of this team. But right now, he's being left in the shadows. Through the first 2 games of the 2025 NFL season, Sanders has yet to take a single snap. Instead, the Browns have doubled down on veteran Joe Flacco, even as they dropped back-to-back divisional games that could prove costly in a season where every win matters. For fans who believe drafting Shedeur was the beginning of a new era, the frustration is boiling over. And it's not just the fans. The criticism has grown so loud that even celebrities are joining the conversation. This week, legendary comedian and television host Steve Harvey gave an unfiltered take on Cleveland's quarterback mess. Harvey, a longtime Browns supporter, spoke from the heart, and he didn't mince his words. He mocked the idea of rushing unprepared players like Dillon Gabriel into the spotlight, saying, "So now, we're going to watch this Gabriel boy go out here and panic his A off soon as he get thrown in there with the Wolves, because the real Wolves come during the season." But Harvey's real passion came when he turned his focus to Sanders. He made it clear that he believes Shedeur deserves his shot. In his own words, "I am praying to God that Shedeur gets an opportunity to show what he can really do, and I think that would be the best thing for him." But knowing the Cleveland Browns, they dumbass going to trade him. They going to trade him away, 'cause you know quarterbacks ain't what we do. That statement hit like a thunderclap because it captured what so many Browns fans have been saying for years. The team has a reputation for destroying quarterback potential instead of nurturing it. Time and time again, Cleveland has drafted quarterbacks with promise, only to waste their talent through dysfunction, poor coaching, and organizational instability. Let's rewind for a moment and look at the history, because the parallels are chilling. Take Baker Mayfield. He was drafted first overall in 2018, hailed as the savior of Cleveland football, the quarterback who could finally end the decades of misery. And for a moment, it looked like that dream was real. Baker showed fire, leadership, and resilience. He even led the Browns to their first playoff win in decades. But behind the scenes, the franchise's dysfunction was tearing everything apart. The lack of stability, the carousel of coaches, the constant drama, it all crushed what could have been a legendary run. Eventually, Baker left Cleveland, and guess what happened? He found himself again. Now with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he has led them to consecutive postseason appearances. In other words, the talent was always there. Cleveland just didn't know how to handle it. Veteran NFL reporter Mary Kay Cabot recently pointed out this exact parallel when talking about Sanders. She said, No, you certainly cannot blame the Browns on this, but Baker landed in Cleveland in the most dysfunctional period in Cleveland Browns history, so that certainly didn't help. She explained that when you have a rookie quarterback, it's not just about what happens on Sundays. It's about how the organization develops them day by day, both on and off the field. A rookie needs structure, mentorship, and confidence. Without that, their mental state crumbles before their physical skills ever get tested. And according to Cabot, Baker never had that environment in Cleveland. The scary truth is that Shedeur Sanders might be walking into the exact same trap. Now let's talk about Shedeur himself. This isn't just some rookie. This is a quarterback who has been groomed for greatness since childhood. The son of NFL legend Deion Sanders, Shedeur grew up under the brightest spotlight imaginable. At Colorado, he proved his ability to handle pressure, throwing with accuracy, poise, and confidence, even as he was sacked more times than any other quarterback in college football last season. Despite being hit relentlessly, Shedeur never backed down. He showed toughness, intelligence, and the kind of leadership NFL teams crave. That's why the Browns drafted him. They saw the potential. They saw the spark. And yet, here we are, 2 games into his rookie season, and he hasn't even stepped onto the field. This brings us back to the heart of the debate. What exactly are the Browns doing? On one hand, sticking with a veteran like Joe Flacco makes sense if you're trying to steady the ship. Flacco has experience, he's won a Super Bowl, and he's not easily rattled. But on the other hand, he is not the future. He is not the guy who will carry this franchise forward in the next 5 or 10 years. Shedeur Sanders is. And every game he spends on the bench is a missed opportunity to grow, to learn, and to prove himself on the big stage. Even worse, Harvey's prediction that the Browns might trade Sanders is not far-fetched. This is the same franchise that has burned through quarterback after quarterback, sometimes giving up on them before they ever had a fair shot. If Cleveland decides to cut ties and ship Sanders somewhere else, it could be déjà vu all over again. Another talented quarterback wasted by the dysfunction of this organization. But let's pause for a second and think about the other side. What if the Browns actually get this right? What if they give Shedeur the chance to take the field, learn from his mistakes, and grow into the role? Imagine the energy, the hope, the change in culture if Sanders became the leader of this team. Fans would rally behind him, the locker room would rally behind him, and Cleveland could finally begin a new chapter. That's the dream, but right now it feels like a distant one. The question is simple but painful. Will Shedeur Sanders be the quarterback who finally breaks Cleveland's curse, or will he be the latest name added to the long list of what could have been? This story is not just about football. It's about opportunity, patience, and the weight of history. It's about how one decision by a franchise can shape the future of a young man's career. And it's about whether the Cleveland Browns are finally ready to learn from their mistakes, or if they are doomed to repeat them. So I want to hear from you. Should the Browns start Shedeur Sanders now, or do you think it's smarter to let him wait behind Joe Flacco? Do you believe Steve Harvey is right, that Cleveland will eventually trade him away, or do you think this time will be different? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because this debate is not going away anytime soon. And before we wrap up, let me say this. Shedeur Sanders has everything it takes to succeed in the NFL. He has the pedigree, the arm talent, the toughness, and the composure. What he needs is the opportunity. Opportunity is the difference between a star quarterback and another wasted draft pick. Cleveland has the power to decide which one he becomes. Thank you so much for watching. If you love in-depth NFL breakdowns like this, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest updates. The story of Shedeur Sanders is just beginning, and we'll be here every step of the way to follow it. Because when it comes to the Cleveland Browns, history has a way of repeating itself, but maybe, just maybe, this time will be different.